How NBA teams secretly hide cap space to sign superstars. They say the NBA's salary cap is ironclad, but the smartest front offices in basketball find their way to unlock the cash vault. Today we'll cover the 5 hidden tools they use to hide cap space, and the one invisible line that is all over the news, the second apron, and how that can absolutely torpedo your title hopes. Welcome back. If you're new, I'm Mike, and I uncover the business and law behind your favorite sports. Something that directly ties both together and is such a front-facing part of sports is the salary cap. If you think every roster move fits neatly under the cap, you should absolutely think again, and there are 5 soft cap exceptions, loopholes, and tricks that let teams spend in the NBA. But beware, if you're not already, you cross the second apron, which is the hard threshold above the luxury tax line, and you lose your biggest exceptions, your ability to sign and trade, and face crippling penalties. My goal today is by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how front offices manufacture room for max salary stars and why one misstep can cost a franchise's championship dreams. At the end, let me know how I did. So every front office lives and dies by something called bird rights, the league's most powerful exception. If a player spends 3 straight seasons with the team, you get full bird, the ability to re-sign him for the max salary regardless of cap constraints. Stay 2 years and you unlock early bird, which lets you exceed the cap by up to 175% of his previous salary or 7.5% raises. Even shorter tenures can score you non-taxpayer bird rights, offering a smaller but still valuable cap bypass. In 1983, the NBA's collective bargaining agreement called for the league's first ever salary cap, which would limit the cash amount teams could spend on player salaries. Rather than institute a hard cap, which would strictly prohibit teams from going above a certain salary limit, the NBA chooses a soft cap with a handful of exceptions. With the contract of Boston Celtics forward Larry Bird expiring at the end of the 1983 season, giving the budding star his first chance to test free agency, the most notable exception to the salary cap was the qualifying veterans free agent exception. This bird exception, as it came to be known, gave free agents bird rights to incentivize negotiating with their existing team. Fast forward to the 2017 Celtics, armed with full bird rights, they re-signed Al Horford on a 4-year, $113 million deal, keeping their core intact without ever dipping under the cap. And another championship just came recently. This exception underpins every superstar retention and keeps rosters from cracking under cap pressure. Next up is mid-level exceptions and biannual exceptions, the bread and butter of rebuilding teams. If you stay below the luxury tax apron, you get a full MLE of roughly $12 million per year for up to 4 seasons. Reach that apron and you drop to the slimmer taxpayer MLE of about $6 million. The biannual exception chips in around $3 million for 2 years, but you can't tap it in back-to-back seasons. Leveraging the full mid-level exception while under the luxury tax apron, the Miami Heat landed Goran Dragic on a 4-year, $27 million deal, which boosted their bench and fueled a pretty good 2015 playoff run post-LeBron. Another big exception is the trade exception, and it's a stealthy move. I mean, you trade out more salary than you bring in, and the surplus becomes credit you can use for any free agent with no matching paperwork required. This tool lets middle market teams add key role players or sweeten deals without dipping into other exceptions. An example is like the Milwaukee Bucks. They traded out a veteran's contract, and then they generated a $7.2 million trade exception. Then they used it to add crucial role players around Giannis without sacrificing any bird rights this past offseason. Trade exceptions are just how smart GMs fill roster gaps while keeping their bird rights intact. But here's the killer, the second apron. Located roughly $6 million above the luxury tax line, it's a hard threshold. If you cross it, you instantly forfeit your full MLE, biannual exception, and sign-and trade rights. I mean, your toolbox as a GM is pretty much slamming shut. Teams who flirt too close really do commonly get burned. In their push to chase LeBron James, the Lakers crossed the second apron, and suddenly the MLE, biannual, and sign-and-trade vanished. They were stuck on veteran minimums, hamstringing their ability to build a championship-caliber supporting cast right now. Of course, the bubble proved to be their time to shine, but otherwise, the team's been quite an interesting example of roster management, let's say nicely. Either way, each example underscores how these exceptions and the second apron's caveat shape championship or bust narratives. A lot of these teams that I named won championships, or at least got to the finals, but there's many that I didn't name that They're in much worse situations right now. Beyond exceptions, teams smooth or backload contracts to keep early cap hits low as well. Backloading pushes huge salary into later years when the cap is expected to rise. I mean, it's a textbook move to stay beneath the second apron today by betting on tomorrow's cap spike. And I mean, we see that in pretty much every single sport now. It's the norm. I mean, we'll see if these leagues eventually hit a financial plateau in the future, but until then, the process is push it off, go all in, win a championship, sell the team for 100x what you bought it for, and leave it all on the backloaded deals to the next owner. I mean, rinse and repeat, grow my billions of dollars as an owner. It's crazy. Something more specific to the NBA, though, is the stretch provision. This lets teams waive a player and spread his remaining guaranteed salary over twice the remaining years, plus one. Instead of a sudden cap hit, you soften the blow over multiple seasons. Fast forward to summer 2025, and we've seen some of the biggest names ever either move, re-sign, or currently in talks. KD, Harden, Westbrook, Chris Paul. I even just got a notification on my phone right now as recording about NBA free agency. It's crazy right now. Teams are juggling all 5 exception tools, framing offers, and timing signings so they never stray above the luxury tax apron, let alone cross the second apron. Crossing means unimaginable financial penalties and the loss of probably your most powerful roster moves. Spoken to GMs who've shared that they plan deals months and months in advance, running multiple cap chart simulations to avoid that fatal threshold and just collapsing the cap completely. It's a high-stakes chess match for really everybody, and every dollar and every single move in the season impacts the bottom line and title odds. It's a league driven by star power that maybe to its own demise, but I feel like that's another video. You let me know on that, but it's really just mastering what is going to take place to get you to contenders rather than pretenders. So which cap space trick blew your mind, and would you risk crossing the second apron to land a superstar, especially someone like LeBron? I mean, it's worked, it's failed. You let me know. But smash that like button if you learned something new, and hit subscribe for more deep dives into sports law, business, and you know what, actually, you can check out this one video I just made on the NBA offseason and what NBA players are legally barred from doing in that offseason. YouTube and I will see you over there. Check it out.